Yo, what's going on, E7 fam? Pat here, back with an updated Epic Hell team for Enraged Blazing Emissary. The team that I have on my channel from the last time this was available was incredibly RNG dependent. While working through it with my guildmate Welchy, we came up with a more consistent team, something that is a bit easier for most people watching the video, I feel like, to accomplish and actually do. It's largely due in part to the fact that Shu is so insane compared to the last time. So if you have Shu and two Soul Weavers, blue Soul Weavers, then you're probably going to be able to do this. First team is still going to be largely a counter-based team that has some kind of sustain on it and ideally has debuffs on it so you can actually get the swift mana dispelled from the boss in order to make things much simpler on the third floor. Third floor is still going to be a standard Wyvern one-shot style composition with Sigrat. So let's jump into it. So previously in this floor, we used Champion Zerato. I am using Edward Elric now because of the fact that he is tankier, does more, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if this was the case the last time, but you can no longer reflect pyrokinesis. So the value on Zerato is a lot worse because he just sits there and takes a bunch of abuse. He just sits there with a bunch of burn stacks on him, and that's not super ideal. Bologna is here to debuff our turtle boy. Okay, we got one. So now we're going to hit the turtle. Swift mana X1. Skip our S3 so we can get swift mana X2. Right, he's going to end up cleansing here because the turtle passes debuffs off to us. Oh, he actually didn't. So, lucky us. So, swift mana 3. See, there, he passed the unhealable back to us. So we still need to get one more debuff on this turtle so we can get swift mana gone, which is super helpful because it makes every other part of the fight a lot easier. Hopefully we get a defense break here, as well as some heals off of Bloodstone. Did not get it. Still did not get it. Focus. Alright, cool. Got the target focus, whatever you want to call it. He passed it, which is unfortunate. Alright, but we still got one there. So I'm going to S3 into this, not only to get rid of swift mana, but to cycle back around so that it's around 50%. Even if Rem dies at this point, I'm not super worried because I still have Bloodstone, and Edward is very difficult to kill here because the boss is all debuffs. And I'm on Sigurd's side, so even if he goes low, it's again really difficult for him to die here.
It's too late to back out now.
Man, RNG is not being kind whatsoever to Rem in this fight. So she's dead, but I still don't think that matters. I still think, as you'll see, we're probably going to end up winning this run anyway. And then SSB is going to end up breaking that. Good for us. You can just see like how much damage we're getting out of Ed for free. Stunned, and then Alphonse should finish this off. And then we'll go to the second floor, which is a Shu-based team. So the logic for this is that if you have Shu on Daydream Joker, she hurts. Shu always ends up hurting. She does so much damage, right? So you're just waiting for the boss basically to use an AoE attack, hope for a counter, and then just get paid huge. We are not trying to spend any of our Soul Weaver skills if we can help it, assuming we don't have burn stacks on us. That's a surefire way of actually end up dying to these burn stacks. You really want to make sure you're managing your cooldowns appropriately. To get rid of this counter buff right here, we need to land 5 attacks while we have 2 or more buffs. So currently we're on 2 right now.
I'm not too late.
And if you can get rid of this counter, then like you're in really good shape. You're in very, very, very good shape.
Magical Girl D.
Feel free to soul burn any skills, by the way, you need on the second floor, as long as you have over 20 souls, you're probably golden. Okay.
We'll be done before you know it.
So we're just going to jam S3, S2 here because it does a lot of damage. So we need buffs right now so that way we can get this counter off. I think we're 1 away at this point.
In the name
So we
of
press
the goddess,
this.
your magical power.
And that'll get rid of everything.
Help you?
That said, we're still also going to pop this because we want to get some actual...
Keep it up.
we want to get more stuff off of our characters here. We want more health. Can't speak today, guys. Alright, so we need one more. It's really important that we get the S3 up on DN.
I'm not too late. I'll illuminate the darkness.
Alright, so the next hit from Shu should take this off.
Love. Is it my turn? It's hard.
This will cleanse Shu, also heal up DN a little bit. I'm just going to cover my bases and actually attack here. Just to get it going, in case I was wrong. Okay, so I was wrong.
Want me to take care of that?
So we burn this to get our pseudo Elbrus up. And there we go. That's the 5th attack. So it's a good thing I did attack with DN there. So next attack here should basically push the phase. We're going to hold steady here. Yeah, there we go. Get the counter from Shu. And we go into phase 3. So if you made it to this point and they don't have the speed buff or the counter buff, you've won, basically. It's like nearly impossible, I feel like, to die on this last part. Unless something just like absolutely terribly goes wrong. So you cleanse everything here with Amelia. And then the only thing we're trying to do at this point is defense break with our defense breaker of choice. If you decide to play Corinne in this spot, make sure that she is slower than Magnar. So we got our defense break plus our focus.
I am at your command.
And then we just soul burn here. And it's pretty much good game at this point. Assuming that we actually get enough debuffs. And even if this doesn't kill, you're going to see in a second, right? So it doesn't kill, right? We still have, like, there's no pressure, right? Nothing, no pressure whatsoever for us on the boss.
All is by your will.
If you miss your defense break, if you're playing a character like Furious, you can just use his S2 to take an extra turn, and you could probably stall it out long enough to win. With Amelia, and the fact that there's no counters there, there's no real pressure whatsoever, assuming you made it to the final floor in a decent chunk of time. Like, yeah, I've found that this composition, it's worked really well for me and my guildmates, and again, it's less RNG than the previous one. I'll just quickly run through the character's gear if you want to see it. Edward Elric, standard PvP Edward Elric. My PvP Rem with Daydream Joker. My PvP SSB, although gear's a little bit janky, with Bloodstone. PvP Shu, although on Daydream Joker instead of Snow Crystal. Here is Angelic Montmorency on Rod. You could play Magtome, most likely. It'll probably work. This is just leftover filler gear. DN doesn't need to be Doctor's Bag. You could play whatever you want. As long as it actually provides health. Unfading Memories might also work well in here. If you have 2 rods, I don't have 2 rods. That could also work just fine. Here is Cigarette. This is a little bit different than my standard Cigarette. I jumped her effectiveness up a little bit so that way I have a chance to get some bleed stacks. You don't really need it, especially if you're playing somebody like Corinne, for example. If you decide to go that route, that could work. I decided to go Furious because if things go wrong, then I could just use his S3 at the start. If it whiffed, which Corinne would do, you get resisted, and then you're like, okay, I can't do anything. Runs a total failure. With him, at least, you have this S2 that gets you an extra turn, so it's possible to cycle back around fast enough to actually get Fatal Bullet, which is why he's kind of the preferred choice here. And then lastly, we have the Amelia, which is here. She's on Unfading Memories. Doesn't need to be this fast, I'll be honest with you. You could go like 220, and it'll probably still be fine. This is pretty much just my Desert Jewel Basar gear. I just moved it over to her. Hopefully this helps with the new and improved, more consistent clear. Thanks for watching.